that air molecules here, the air, lack of a better description, is thinner. So the arrows actually cut through the air a little bit more efficiently. And if I were to take my sight mark from Toronto and shoot 70 meters here, which I actually did, I actually hit 7 high because of the altitude change. But with the altitude change becomes the air density change. And because the wind is blowing across the field, it can actually affect your arrows less than if I was shooting in Toronto. So also, if you were coming from, let's say, Colorado, an even higher elevation, you can actually be affected more because the air here is actually thicker than in Colorado. So it depends on where you're coming from.
I know where these two are coming from. They're coming from Korea, and they're going for the gold. Of course, Chang-Hyun and Im Dong-hyun teaming up for this recurve mixed team gold medal match, and they will take on a country that's now becoming a rival for them, Chinese Taipei, and what a team this is.
Yeah, just a few years ago, it was China who was a big rival for Korea, but I think they're going through a little restructuring. I've seen a lot of new archers coming onto the field for China, so we haven't seen a lot of high results, but Chinese Taipei, I mean, this lady on the right here, Ya-Ting, she's a favorite amongst a lot of archers and amongst a lot of people at home for me, and she's just, she's a whippersnapper. She can shoot. I was shooting on the practice range beside her the other day, and I was just being put to shame by the groups that she was shooting beside me. And I'm probably shooting another 10 pounds of bow weight on her, and I've probably got another 3 inches of arrow length on her. But she knows how to put them in the middle. And it's scary, but it's really, really humbling to shoot beside her and really awesome to see.
And then when you team her up with Chun-Heng, you've got yourself a terrific duo. Chun-Heng, who had a great round this morning when he picked up the silver medal. He was the outstanding archer on his team. He was in the 10 ring more often than not, most of the time. And so Chun-Heng and Ya-Ting teaming up to take on Chang-Hyun and Im Dong-hyun. Now the Koreans got to this gold medal match by defeating China 6-0 in the quarters, and then knocking off Mexico 5-4 in a shoot-off. They'll start off with an 8 from Im Dong-hyun.
On the right, and that's exactly how the USA started earlier today. Im Dong-hyun is the previous world record holder for the 720 round. Chang-Hyun almost got it this week. She was 3 points off in conditions that were not favorable at all. And she is also the Olympic champion. So, I mean, it's nothing to bat an eye at for this Korean team. But if anybody can take on them, it is this team, starting off with this woman right here.
A little bit of a surprise.
Surprise for the archers, probably not surprising to somebody who's watching and taking observation on where those arrows are landing. Everybody seems to be hitting right when they get onto this field. It's just a different wind funneling through this field.
So, Mr. Wei goes left.
And Im Dong-hyun better watch how he's drawing that arrow out of his quiver. The official rules for team round are that one foot has to be planted on the ground on either side of the shooting line before the point of the arrow can leave the quiver. And he's coming really close to getting a yellow card. So I hope it doesn't happen, but it's something that hopefully the judge will be watching out for. That's a good shot. Even though it's on the right, her group is probably about those two arrows are probably about an inch apart. And so it's great shooting from Chang.
They need a 9 and a 10. They get the 10. Now they need just a 9 to tie and split. A 10 would give them the set. Wei Chun-Heng shot a lot of 10s this morning. Came close.
Yeah, and we are splitting that set unofficially 1-1. 35-35, and I'm wondering if Mr. Wei's first arrow, which was an 8 to the left, I'm wondering if it was aimed there, to be honest, because he probably saw that his teammate shot her first shot, was aimed in the middle, and it hit an 8 right. So what he might have done instead was said, okay, I'm going to be a little proactive about this, aim left and see if it'll drift in. But sometimes if you're shooting a higher poundage than your teammate, it'll cut right through the arrow a lot more efficiently than their arrow, and it'll hit where you were aiming, and that's a big frustration sometimes with archers, because you're thinking that you're accounting for the wind and thinking you're outsmarting Mother Nature, but sometimes you just can't.
Keep it simple, huh?
It is.
Yeah, just keep it simple.
Yeah.
The KISS theory.
1S or 2?
There's 2 in there, but I won't mention
Yeah.
the last word.
And Korea's actually being smart about their positioning on the field. They lucked out by getting target number 1 on the left side, but they're also staying in the shade of the building and trying to keep themselves nice and cool. Now let's watch Im Dong-hyun and watch that arrow. That's close. It's very close.
This is first time out on the field. We'll see him later in the men's gold medal match, taking on his countryman, Kim Woo-jin. So an excellent start of this set for Korea. The Olympic champion from Rio.
Still off to the right. There's the sight move.
And you talked about erratic, and I think that would apply perhaps to this morning with Chang Hae-jin and the way that she was shooting this morning.
Yeah, I was practicing this morning, and I was walking over from the practice range, and I walked by the field when Korea was shooting against Chinese Taipei in the women's matches, and I saw some of the scores that were up on the boards, and I was like, wait, who's shooting? And
yeah.
So usually when that happens, that's when there's erratic conditions on the field of play. That's close, but I think it's in. I think it's touching. Scores are calling it a 9-star, and so it could be upgraded to a 10 when official scoring has taken place.
So as Crispin Duenas is fond of saying, that's the unofficial score.
And that's good shooting from Im Dong-hyun. Very consistent, an X and a 10. If he wants to start splitting hairs, they're a little high. But a 10 is a 10.
And that's almost a 10.
And it's almost a 10. Still off to the right. And what Chinese Taipei needs right now is if they can score 2 10s, unofficially they'll be tied, but then we'll look at the 9-star on the second arrow, and they could be leading. But 2 10s would be a really good help right now. So that's...
They better be hoping that that second shot is a 10.
And that this arrow is a 10.
Yes. In a sticky position right now, Wei Chun-Heng. Quick release. That's a 9.
So
no matter what they roll that second arrow to be,
yeah,
the set's going to go to Korea.
Exactly. So now we're going to be 3-1 unofficial for Korea over Chinese Taipei. And right now I don't think Chinese Taipei is going to be any the bit worried at all, because they're just going to be sticking to their focus plan and sticking to what they need to do, which is just shoot their shots, be a little bit observant on the wind. If I were to be shooting this and I would name this, I would call this a thinking person's wind. It's you have to think about it and just try to make a really good educated guess before you get up to full draw on where you're going to be aiming or if you're going to be moving your sight. And so that's added with the pressure of being in front of a whole bunch of people and everybody who's watching online and everything. It can be a little nerve-wracking, but
it makes the game so much more interesting.
It does.
It really does. It really does. And you know, I haven't talked to anybody about this, but I've got to think that as they were looking at this particular area to lay out this field for this competition, they thought about the fact that, okay, there would be the building to protect that arrow, maybe 30, 35 meters downrange, and then all of a sudden it's going to hit that open wind.
Yeah.
And I think some thought goes into that. It's like golf with the pin placements.
Yeah. So
in that respect, I suppose.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one, but I'm also pretty sure that they probably didn't know what the conditions were going to be exactly like when they set up this field. But we'll see what happens here. There we go.
10 Ya-Ting, a 10 for Ting.
Little high, but it's off the right side. Right side is relative. It was just like, on the 10 line, right side.
But it was in the right neighborhood.
It is.
That one's in the vicinity. Now Im Dong-hyun.
It's a 9 just out high.
Now the 30-year-old Chang Hyun.
Down to the left, and that's she might have just overcompensated, or the wind might have stopped. But looking at the flags, the wind has not stopped, so I think that just might be an overcompensation.
So calm, cool, and collected.
And that's the Ya-Ting we're used to seeing.
We saw her and Chun-Heng win stage 1 in Shanghai, and then do it again just 2 weeks ago on Konyaaltı Beach in Antalya.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're trying to do it again at the 3rd stage.
And that is a clinch for that set for Chinese Taipei, 39. Even if Korea shoots 2 10s here, they'll only get a 38. So unofficially right now the score should be tied 3-3 after Korea's done shooting. But that is a big motivation for Im Dong-Hyun, knowing exactly that he is hitting inside the 10 ring. And he's got kind of, you know, space to play with.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Well done. It won't change the outcome of the set.
It won't, but
you know what it means.
That's scary to know that Korea is now sighted in.
And they know it, and Chinese Taipei knows it. Although the thing about Chinese Taipei, they're not in awe of anybody. Although I don't know if anybody is anymore. Do you think, Crispin, I mean, that there's an intimidation factor or anything like that that exists in this sport anymore?
I don't
Amongst
think
the highest ranked, I think the elite archers.
Yeah, with elite archers, I don't think there is as much as there used to be. I remember when I was still competing in my younger years and walking onto the field and saying,
back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. Then and thinking to myself, oh my goodness, the Koreans are here. Well,
Yeah.
they're going to win. I don't think that happens anymore because a lot more countries have taken it upon themselves to give themselves a more in-depth training environment, and a lot of the archers are becoming more professional archers. They're doing it full time.
More dedicated,
more devoted. They're using science and technology to, well, I should say more science and technology to figure out the most efficient way of shooting or the best way of shooting. Because
And the coaching is getting better too.
the
across
coaching
the globe.
is better. And I mean, like, there's a lot of Korean coaches being exported as well. So a lot of countries are coming onto the field with Korean knowledge and Korean training. So I don't think Chinese Taipei is one of those countries that will get intimidated. On the other hand, they do have a Korean coach.
And they have become a major, major player on the world scene, as this young lady has certainly. Of course, as she said a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago, you know, before that gold medal, people really weren't talking to me all that much. Now people want to know what I think. It's funny how things change.
Yeah.
After now 1 but 2 gold medals in Rio. Now, Chinese Taipei, a little bit of trouble starting off here in this 4th set.
That was a low 8 from Ya-Ting, and she looked a little worried because I don't think she thought it was supposed to end up there. But again, the winner of this set will win the match and the gold medal.
And it's nip and tuck right now after that 10 from Chun-Heng.
And Korea could clinch it right now with 2 10s.
How many times have we seen them do that? Lock the door when they get in this position.
One more 10 will clinch. And if anybody can do it, it is Miss Chang right here.
You can put a chain and a padlock. Put a chair behind the door.
Oh. So Chinese Taipei needs 2 10s to tie and force a shoot-off.
It starts with Ya-Ting, and it's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Unfortunately, that's very anticlimactic, but Korea has unofficially clinched the gold medal from Chinese Taipei. And this arrow will just be for practice, but that's a great practice arrow.
And he's coming back later in the day, so that's meaningful for him.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect way to come off of this field for Mr. Wei. And Ya-Ting will be seeing later on today as well. She's sighted in, he's sighted in, and they're ready to go for their matches later on today. But there they are, the mixed team champions, Korea, and silver medalist, Chinese Taipei.
The string is snapped for Chinese Taipei after winning in Shanghai and Antalya. They'll have to settle for the silver medal, which ain't bad. Here in Salt Lake City, Utah, seesaw battle. It was tied after the first set, 1-all. Korea went up 3-1, only to see Chinese Taipei come back to win the third set and tie it at 3-all, and then a 1-point win, I believe it was, 1-point difference in that fourth set. Yes, 38-37, and that's all the difference they needed to clinch it and win the match by the score of 5-3. Love the slow motion replays. And you get to see some of that technology and how it works.
Well, slow motion is another piece of technology that we're using for tuning and for form analysis.